Uh, Mr. Anil Nama, CIO, Controllers Data Centers Limited. Mr. Alok Mojumdar, VP Technology, Hoichoi. Mr. Rahul Guha, Director, Oracle India. Mr. Nitin Raj, I think I mentioned to Nitin that we will give him a heads up when it starts, if one of our colleagues can do, please. Mr. Nitin Raj, Partner, Data Sciences, AI, ML, GenAI, Optimization, PwC India. Mr. Jaydeep Eskalra, Director and Region Head, Business Banking, North and East India, HSBC Bank. So, Mr. Ramayanshu Datto of Amazon, he was supposed to join us from US online. Unfortunately, the timing of this session is not matching, of course, with US time zone. And we look forward to having Ramayanshu. We call him Romy on some other occasion. With this, I would request Mr. Parthu Gupta to please take it forward. I'll check for Mr. Alok Mojumdar.
Good afternoon, everybody. So today we stand here, so all of us are standing here to discuss a topic which is both exhilarating and transformative. And we are in the age of a disruption which we have not seen for last whatever years and all, I can't recollect. With post-internet, this is one of the major disruption which is happening in our world and all. We are starting to getting into an age where that we are getting somehow controlled by machines. We are getting into an age like that. So we are because of this unprecedented technology innovation, whatever has happened, we find ourselves at the crossroad of innovation and responsibility. We just standing here, so in that crossroad, and the word GenAI which has come in this last year to all of our life and all has actually, that which was there and previously when that got launched in across the industry and all, and then we saw everybody jumping and pounding back to all of us and telling that how do we enable GenAI in our overall environment? How to get immediately rolled out into our environment? How do you start consuming GenAI? And the people, whoever has seen it, were very excited to get it onboarded. So then immediately there were a few messages were getting flashed and all, that a lot of great companies have published a lot of content and all, wanted to get an output from the GenAI and all. These became public informations and all. And that has created again a step back. If this also can happen. So it's that this is a responsible use of technology, what is available in front of us and all. And this is the BCCI topic which is coming. We have got very esteemed panelists who are over here and all, and as we go on and all in the part of our discussions and all, we'll keep on introducing them. So we had before the panel, whatever happens, we did discuss internally and all what we are going to discuss to ensure that. But we collectively took one call that we should have a takeaway when this audience goes back and all. There should be takeaway from this panel, so that that all of us in some way or some manner will be able to consume. I know everybody is consuming because of internet. How do you take this product back, take this concept back to our organizational ecosystem? It should help us to use it in our delivery organization, in your supply chain organization, in your sales organization, in your human resource organization. How do you use that and consume that? So with this, I will actually, that we will start, go back to, go back to this area of questions for, for some of our panelists. I would like to go back to, so all of us understand money, because top line, bottom line is very important aspects of our life. So we'll go back to Mr. Jaideep Kalra, and who is Director and Regional Head Business Banking, North and East Asia, HSBC Bank Limited. So we'll go to money first. So we'll ask question back to him, that coming from banking, whenever discussing, learn from him, there is something called 4D, what principles he is using. He will highlight us what 4D methodology, what we are using over there and all, and how he is transforming using this 4D methodology and GenAI together into the banking sector.
Great, sir. And firstly, thank you. It's a real privilege and honor to be here amongst all of you. And I must comment that this is probably one of the most well-attended, managed and organized events, and everything from the presentation up to the event is amazing. And it's a great honor to be actually present here and amongst all of you. I think before I come to 4D, I think what are we seeing? We are one of the largest banks globally, and largest foreign bank in India. What we see happen in India is very unique. And I think that's something that we need to be mindful of as we look at these technologies and how we kind of leverage it. When we say 4Ds, or for that matter, any other acronym that you may want to choose, I think one is data is clearly sweeping everything in this country. You've got so much of data. There was a time about maybe 10 years back, there was hardly a credit bureau in the country. Today you have one of the best credit bureaus globally. There are a lot of other examples of data being available in the country. Second is digital. As a country, we probably are developing or already have one of the best digital public infrastructures. Third D, which is obviously very close to what, this is something that we've been talking about, I think now for decades. It's demographic, right? What is the demographic dividend today? We all talk about the huge middle class, but we also need to be mindful that there is a very large segment of our population which is still primary school or less. And at the same time, the female labor force participation is 30% or less. So demography, and the final D, which we see, is demand. We always knew about the domestic demand being very strong, but we also see a huge global demand, and India is becoming clearly a cynosure of a lot of global economies who want to diversify their supply chains, and obviously sustainability. Now, all these 4Ds point towards one thing. How are we going to leverage these 4Ds as a SME or as a large organization or as a government? Is it really a matter of human intelligence, or is it something that we need to process, analyze all of this? So I think, therefore, the relevance and importance of AI in this country is probably one of the highest. Because if you have a great digital infrastructure, is an SME able to really use it? If you have so much of data, can a bank really process all this data and give a loan in 15, 20 minutes or 59 minutes? So I think that's where we see as a bank a lot of relevance of artificial intelligence. So maybe I can come back and talk about how we are using AI and GenAI before I kind of go on. Yeah,
sure.
Would that be
Great,
fine?
great,
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
And that all of you, whoever is, we heard from banking and all of you are here from Kolkata, so that Bengal and Bengali is a very key word related to us. I will go back to Hoichoi as a channel and all. It's synonymous with, all of us Bengali movies, everything we see in Hoichoi. So Hoichoi from Alok is there from Hoichoi, and all how we can make some Hoichoi over here we would like to see. And how digital, and he has got a very difficult job to handle at this scale and all. And how do you deliver with all these contents with today's digital world, with how he is also adopting GenAI in that, and how to deliver. We see content everywhere, we see experience everywhere. How he is managing that, using that, I would like to hear from you. Yeah. Press that once, yeah. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, you can use that other one. Yeah, please go ahead.
I think this is good. Yeah. So the way we see it, right? I mean, first of all, we all need to, understand one thing, that with this advancement of Gen AI, right? Our industry is the first that which takes the entire load, right? Because being a content creator, what we are seeing that, people have started writing poetries, stories, making videos, making songs through this Gen AI, right? Which is, like a kind of a intrusion in our core competency, right? So in one part, this is good, right? Being a kind of a democratization, all the things. But on the other hand, we see that, this is evident. We cannot avoid it. So better to embrace it, in our way rather than fighting for it, right? Fighting to it. So currently, we are actually, exploring, multiple, ideas where we can add Gen AI, right? When it comes to, translations or dubbing, making, like a promo or trailer videos or any marketing collateral videos, working with images, creating, creative artworks and all, and then it goes to the user experience, right? Now the challenge that we face, that being a Bengali OTT, there is not much activities around, in Bengali in Gen AI, right? So currently, we are trying to use our own data as a training. We are trying to, we are testing a couple of open source models so that we can run those things and reach in a certain area, which will have a direct impact on that. But I would say it's a very, it's a very early stage, because after all this, discussions and talk, the question that we are still trying to figure out, what is the data and whether this data is ready for Gen AI consumption or not, right? So I think if we can crack that, everything rest will, fall in place.
So Nitin, just wait, huh? We are going to get back. He has told the problem of Bengali and all. We are going to come back to you. Get ready for that. I'm just going to come back to you. Okay. So now before you, I would like to, to state there are two stages. What we are saying is the Gen AI is coming. That, that we are seeing RAG, it's generating content for us. It is giving output for us. There are documents which are having multimodal presence, like you'll have a, where you will have text as well as images and all. You want a summary of that text and image, everything. You want your 100-pager mail which should be read and it should give you a summary within a minute. You will have your policies written across the organization and all, but you want to know specific question on that, and you will ask that question and it should give you an answer. All these use cases are roaming around across the industry. There is also another aspect. This is what is a RAG output, which there is another aspect of it. What OEMs are doing. What OEMs are doing, they are saying that I am trying to build in, I'm trying to force Gen AI as a part of an embedded AI as a part of my product. So that's a two dimension to it, that, one is an embedded as a part of the product, another one is my data, whatever I have got, I want to get an output, I want to get the RAG content out of it. It's two phases of the output. Before I get into the, this dimension of both the world and all, I want to go back to Rahul. Rahul is from Oracle. He would like to tell us that, Rahul, I would have a question back to you, that how Oracle is embedding the requirement of large language models in Gen AI and built into the product ecosystem. How we are getting an, that how we are planning ahead, because that's a requirement that whatever product I use, people are telling I should be able to do basic query and it should give me an output, rather than going to an, big fat screen and go drag down this option, choose that option, then it will give me an output. Question back to you, Rahul. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Shengupta. It's an honor to be in this esteemed panel and getting questions from you. It's very valid. From Oracle perspective, what we are doing, and as you know, maybe a lot of you know what Oracle does. It has been a database leader. Always we are talking about applications in the cloud now for many years. We are leaders there also, and we are a great hyperscaler today. Now, from a generative AI perspective, which is I think it started in 2023, the buzzwords came in, but AI has been there for a very long time, and we have been embedding AI and ML across the entire technology stack from Oracle perspective. And if I come to generative AI today, because that's the subject of our topic today, that's also our investments are going into embedding generative AI into every level of technology stack, whether it is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, which is our infrastructure as a service, if you can say, our database, which is also on cloud today, 23 AI is the new one, our applications on cloud, everywhere the embedding is being done from a generative AI perspective. And it is very important to understand that it's not from only a technology standpoint that because everybody is doing generative AI, we need to embed that. It is not so. The important thing is, in our parlance, customer is the hero, and we are just the enablers. Now, in order to do any automation or fast processing, we need innovation, and that has been happening, and one of the most innovating things was when applications went on cloud, so that the updates and rather not upgrades happen in a quarterly manner, in which we do a quarterly update every application. Now, so giving you an example of embedding of generative AI in ERP applications, it is being embedded across the spectrum, whether it is performance management, whether it is taking out an annual report or balance sheet, or taking out an item description in a supply chain, recommendation for new suppliers based on their performances, which was not done previously, right? Or in human capital management system, the matching of job to a job profile, etc. I'm just taking few examples. Also, in hyperscaler or in OCI, having embedded the generative AI, if you are having some content, if you want to develop as a customer something in your own generative AI, and you're suppose using open source, right? You bring that workload into Oracle. We have APIs through which connect to OCI, that is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, and throw up those generative AI use cases. In the same tone, I would also like to make you aware that in database, which is the newest cloud database 23 AI, I'm just taking a version, which is the latest one, we have this now generative vector search capability. This vector search capability is one of the most important reasons for bringing unstructured data, like he uses a lot of videos, like he was talking about images, speeches, and make those unstructured and of course the structured data of enterprises, both bring together, bring out the vector search, gives you the capability of doing search based on semantics, and bring up all this together, throw up in the analytics model, which also has generative AI embedded, so that more and more contextual insights can be driven to the customer. The two takeaways I would like to give from Oracle from generative AI perspective. Firstly, please remember, it is built in and not bolt on. And secondly, we always have humans in the loop, so that generative AI does not take over, it is the humans, so that you always have the editable rights, the rejection rights, the approval rights with you.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So there are two very important things I want to summarize, that what he is telling in business context, what is happening in the business. It has editable rights, so you have got ethical responsibility for this, that it has, because it has got an editable right over there. Number one. Number two, what is happening, what is transforming in your own business. You are becoming one of the most important guy in the organization. How? I will tell you. Because if you give a sales report used to come to to your CEO and all, and then it will go who did what sales and all. There is to be a column which is available there, and all that sheet is prepared, post taking the output of the database and all, that Excel report used to go to the desk of the CEO or in front of a Power BI and all, it will go as a dashboard. Now what is changing is that what he is telling, it is an embedded AI. It is a Gen AI embedded in it. Now he is writing who did lowest sell in the East in the system, and rather than getting into a console, dragging down the look at the region, select India, then West Bengal, then this location, who did lowest sales, he will do just an English query and press and enter. The name will reflect. So you become a very important guy in the organization when you give this ability to the CEO. This is what is the power of an embedded AI, which is going to bring in and this kind of an value to the chief executive or the business makers, business decision makers over there. That's what is the power which is going to come in. That's a very important point and all. I think this is all of us synergize with that. Now what is happening, I'm going to get into this part of the job, that that there were a lot of hue and cry is that this, is it going to replace human? Is it going to replace human? The problem is there are in IT community, first get into IT community, there are so much of complex job which is emerging because of such complexity. It is an enabler for us. The critical thinking, the creative thinking, the emotional intelligence, EI and all, this will come from human. We will coexist, work along with this tool and give an output to the business. Now all of this is not possible until and unless you have got, either you are consuming from somewhere the digital foundation. Digital foundation who provides? Digital foundation is provided by hyperscalers in the market. Digital foundation is provided by the companies like, that Conclave who is there over here with us. Okay, Mr. Anil Nama, who is the CIO of our Conclave and all, is there with us, with this panel and all. So when you go to, when you go to this, the digital foundation layer where infrastructure plays a pivotal role. Suppose you want to do your Gen AI for your own, and you want to democratize the GI, you need compute, you need scaled out architecture. How do you bring in value for your customers by adopting? They look for AI ops and Gen AI. So this is a journey. I would like to hear from you that what is your journey towards AI ops and Gen AI?
Thank you. Well, we as CIOs and IT users, we are all used to one word which was known as observability. And I'm sure each one of us sitting in this room would have been investing throughout our lives in this observability. Look at SAP versus our infra versus our network. It has been a fight over the years to put it in single screen. But what is the outcome that we are looking at? What we want to know very simply is, maybe at the start of the day, is there likelihood of any of my system going down? When somebody, some VIP user or a department user comes back to me and says, I am not able to work, is it a system-wide outage, or is it very localized to his machine? Or even for that instance, if there is some security scare like ransomware and all, we want to very simply know, what's the kind of impact? And the traditional systems or systems till date that we are using require you all the menus, to have Excel reports, to have real-time dashboards, and still be a little bit uncomfortable. Our whole research in the AI ops, and especially utilizing the large language models, is to have a very simple query. For example, let us say we have an SAP landscape. What we have done is we have taken out 54 T codes, which are part of S-Flight check of SAP. So what happens is, when you query my system, that how is my SAP? When I query my system, it directly goes to the SID and gives me an earlier report saying that, yeah, it was okay morning 8 o'clock. If I do the keyword now, it triggers all those 54 parameters to exactly tell me where in the SID is there any issue or everything is green. The other thing that we are trying to do with this is around the security scares. Now, all of us would have handled SOC and NOC. I mean, in NOC guys, we talk about operating systems, uptimes, patches, database, tables, backup. The SOC guys language is around it, IOCs, indicators of compromise, indicators of attack, indicators of behavior. And beyond that, some things I also don't understand. Now, anything that is observed by SOC has to be plugged by a NOC guy. And we at a governance have to understand both sides of it. So our whole second endeavor is, can we use the LLMs and the new, whatever is new coming as part of AI and all our security tools into a very simple natural language. For example, let us say I read a newspaper or there is a threat intel which has come in, which says, yeah, something is happening in firewalls or something is happening in browsers. I just write a simple query and ask, is it applicable to my landscape? If yes, is there somebody working on it? Maybe it goes and searches for the CR's emergency cap. If no, then can we initiate it? Have I achieved that part? SAP part we have more or less done through the APIs and the JSON scripts. The security part is something, sir, we are working on because it requires a lot of things to be naturalized from the tooling part. But given our first release at the end of October, we hope to be there to give at least you as a customer and at least me as a provider a simple interface to ask simple things and get simple answers.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, so that's a brilliant job which is getting done and all. Now, that since we started with SAP, we ended with SAP, would like to be there. And we have got, we have got Moinak, who is the technology head of, who is the head of practices for SAP from Aerodate and SAP practice. So in the similar line, I would like to ask you a question, Moinak, is that, so how you are transforming supply chain with, with GenAI, with the, with SAP? What are you doing in that area to give solution to your customer? What are your customer interaction which are happening now and all? What customers are asking? What values you are creating using the GenAI and SAP supply chain? Question back to you.
Thank you, sir. So first of all, thanks very much to be a part of this session, and very good afternoon to all the participants and panelists. Yeah, so coming back to your question, supply chain always have been sort of area where we deal with lot of paperwork. There are a lot of stuffs which get delayed, and it has been an age-old, you can say, problem for all the CFOs mainly, especially in the areas of expense management, accounts payable. A lot of things get piled up. So what this AI and automation thing has brought into picture, mostly in terms of SAP as well as some other tools as an add-on with SAP, is like it has reduced the usage of paperwork. So what we say as a paperless, indirectly it adds to a lesser carbon footprint. So to be precise, we are not doing away with everything without paper, but it's like minimizing the use of paperwork. Now, how does Gen AI or AI comes into picture in terms of the supply chain expense management? So what we are asking customers is to propose vendors to send e-copies of whatever documents they used to send offline earlier, which used to get piled up. There were delays in payments, and there were a lot of things, disputes happening. So customers have started increasing this practice of accepting e-invoices. Now, using this concept of AI model, we have introduced this ICR, which converts this image to texts. This image to text conversion has minimized manual intervention and even the incorrectness of all the entries which used to happen. So be it in SAP ERP, be it in other ERPs, but of course SAP being a pioneer ERP solution and myself being in SAP practice for ages, so I have seen the transformation, how it has gone through. And this is a key area which not only increases the user experience, it also, you can say, gives the better turnaround time for the supply chain area, and that's how it goes. And just to add on to that, SAP has its own AI tool as well, Joule, which they are already working on. They haven't promoted it to a greater height, but of course SAP is open to working with other AI tools. And myself being a part of Aerodec, I've worked with Microsoft Automate to get this ICR transformed, and this to help the journey of supply chain. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So, this how we have seen that various transformative journeys and all, and on that, that I would like to tell you again the problem exists. Huh? So the problem exists is like that. The OpenAI came in. OpenAI came in before. OpenAI came in with that we have seen Azure in the market and all. Azure, OpenAI has come in. Then with that, lot of versions. Something is good at document consolidation. Some models are good at image generation. Some models are good at video to text generation. Some models are good at text to video generations. And somewhere there is some good models which comes from Google's Gemini and all, where structured data is good. Somewhere something great open source models come from Amazon and all. Now a customer with a different perspective has got so many models with so many options, and the customer needs to use all in a manner that is the consumption of AI, consumption of generative AI for his unstructured data as well as structured data. Both are important to them. And in this environment of technology options, and there is a burden on organization on ethical AI uses, cost and data security. This is the ethical AI uses, cost and data leakage prevention. This is the organizational boundary. With that, how do you democratize? How do you democratize AI within your own organization? What are the tools and means and principles what we are going to use this in your overall platform of the organization? This question is back to consultants. I would like to go back to Nitin. Nitin is from PwC. I think you will be able to add value there. Yeah, please, Nitin, over to you.
First of all, thank you to Bengal Chambers of Commerce and Industry and the lovely audience. It's a very pertinent question, democratization. So before we do that, let's understand a few perspectives that what it means to be democratizing something. So there's a what side to it and there's a how side to it. Now, most of the problems in the universe are very complex. Talk about supply chain, talk about any worthwhile problem, ESG. These are large problems. And for any large problem, when you're trying to solve, just looking at structured data is a very narrow view, a very narrow set of information that you will get from it, right? A vast amount of information is embedded in an unstructured data, which was largely inaccessible to us up till now, right? Now with generative AI, you can combine structured and unstructured data through various platforms and models, which gives us very fresh perspectives, right? That is what is enabled by Gen AI. Now, how it does. Now let's think about what happened when ChatGPT came, why it became such a big hit. It got 100 million users in just 2 months, which was never heard of ever in the industry. The reason was very simple. It could talk, right? It could talk. You did not have to be a data scientist to use the powers of data science. Anybody who can type, who can talk, can converse with Gen AI, with ChatGPT. This is democratization, right? Because earlier, you had to be a programmer or a scientist, data scientist, to be leveraging the power of technology. Not anymore. The other point that is enabled by Gen AI, think about it. It has zipped the entire information of the globe all in one zip file, and it's at your doorsteps, right? The knowledge is now not just with a select few, it is with everybody. That is democratization. Anybody can use this power, they can build their own models, they can build their own businesses. That is democratization. When it comes to enterprise, whether it's small industries, large-scale industries, anybody has now the power of a jump start. They can use these models, build on top of it, build their own context, and start leveraging it, right? So I'll say, with Gen AI, the power of democratization has been immense. No technology so far in future has unleashed this kind of potential as Gen AI has. Back to you.
The good perspective which has come in. So, you know, I will also put forward this question to this, you know, that this panelists, the great panelists, is that, you know, that in pocket, in any organization, you will have a pocket of human resource, finance team, EHS, employee health and safety team, IT team, this team, that business, this business and all. How do I, and you are trying to start building a channel with your hyperscalers who are providing all these Gen AI tools and all. Your data is available across the organization. Everybody is telling that, you know, there is a mandate that please start using the Gen AI as a platform everywhere and all. Everybody started doing a POC and pilot. I have got this data, I want this output. He says, I have got this data, I want that output. I want to see that. Prompt engineering, I want to use and all, and get an outcome of this. This is everywhere, all the businesses. Now as an organization level, and there is a gentleman who named as CEO of the organization, who's got a role to give these services to everybody. And how do I democratize those tools so that it is consumable by each of my businesses in a meaningful way? And hope I'm audible, if I'm moving out of the mic. So how do I democratize that so that, you know, that the whole organization will be able to consume without getting into the issues of leakage, without getting into the issues of everybody doing it as a pilot at an individual business level. That is the channel. Everybody is doing a pilot. You go back to every business, every unit in the divisions and all, I am doing a pilot. I am doing it with X. Somebody has told me that there is a model, I have seen this output. In my data, I could see that output is coming. I am doing a pilot with my specific department. And how do if anybody can pick up this question, how do I create a model for an organization, not for pilot for a department, not for an outcome for a department, and it is an enterprise-wise Gen AI adoption architecture for any business. Open to all, anybody wants to pick up, can pick up.
Okay, sir, I would like to go for it. Because as a service provider, sooner I adopt this, right, from L0 to L4, everybody has to use it. The way we started it was, we initially opened the chat GPT. People receiving external tickets, external information, we asked them to summarize everything. Slowly, over a period of 2-3 months, we found that Microsoft also brought in, as you said, do pilot, co-pilot. We opened the co-pilot to everybody. And what we have been asking them is any communication from external, from a customer, from a vendor, from anybody, ensure that we use the same keywords so that whatever comes out is more or less same. We have reached that stage. At the same time, to the vendors who are coming to us. For example, let's say a SOC guy has put in an AI, a firewall guy has put in an AI, and so on. Our various hardware vendors will also come up with AI. We are asking the same questions to them and trying to create this metadata layer around the content. So our aim, we have taken a very simple CouchDB kind of database. I'm trying to run the engines on top of it. Have I been able to get 90% accuracy? No. But 50-50, 35-40% is started to match.
Brilliant.
So that's where we are.
Anybody want to top up?
Yeah, let me try. So when it comes to adoption of a technology like Gen AI, which we all would agree is very, very pervasive in almost, it touches upon, or it can potentially touch upon almost everything that we do. All the functions, HR, finance, supply chain, all of that, right? Now, the perspective has to be beyond just technology, right? Technology is one essential part of it, how you integrate, how you create one common platform where people can come in, do pilots, experiment, scale up, right? It's completely okay to start from different teams doing smaller pilots, completely okay, because that gives them awareness and it helps in adoption down the line. Eventually there has to be some kind of centralization, either completely or federated. But technology is just one part of it. There has to be other dimensions like how do you then have processes in place? How do you ensure adoption is happening, right? Now these are little bit more complicated problems to solve because it's about human nature, it's about human adoption, right? For things like Gen AI, it has to be both top down and bottoms up, right? While management can foresee the power of Gen AI, the people down the line may be a little reluctant in terms of adopting Gen AI from day one. But slowly, steadily, it has to come to them that this is only enabling them, not fighting against them, right? So that's a whole human dimension. I'll say that as the world is becoming more and more tech, we have to become more and more human. That's extremely important for us, for any kind of adoption to happen. Yeah.
Brilliant. Before I go back to next question, I hope this is interesting and all, and we are trying to help all of us collectively. We are trying to learn from each other. So I would like to that with this I would like to go back and all, and my question is not question is like that that I would like to hear from Jaideep. Jaideep, would you like to add anything on top of it?
I think firstly, as a bank, I think there is a real, we've been adopters of technology all along, and there is a real need today for any large institution to be able to kind of, improve the productivity, improve customer experience. And I don't think there has ever been a kind of technology like AI in general, which can probably meet our needs. So I'll just reflect on what, we in the banking industry is really happening, and then obviously going forward. See, I think AI has been mainly used initially for financial intelligence, fraud monitoring, etc. Because there you are really starting to deal with a lot of big data. And then we've started using a lot of AI for robotic process automation because we're dealing with a lot of paper at times and or digits or digital data. And that's where we need to process this quickly, and that has helped us save cost and save, improve efficiencies. I think coming to generative AI, again, it's got a lot of use cases, but the most important thing to understand for a regulated institution is how am I ensuring data confidentiality? How am I not only meeting, the basic data laws, DPDD Act, which are obviously coming in, and while we said we want to democratize data, but I have to also protect the data confidentiality at all times. So as a more of a practitioner than coming from an IT background, what we are seeing is we already have a lot of internal data. For example, we've got policies, local policies, regulatory policies, global policies. If we can create like a data lake and then we make it easy for users across the organization to understand, process and access this data. So that's a great use case, and that is also a problem area. It again improves, then we have a lot of customer data. A lot of times customer needs require you to provide certain information. How can we again access the data lakes and provide that information? Again, there are a lot of generative AI use cases. But when it comes to external data, I think we have to be mindful that we don't want the two data sets to kind of mix, because data privacy becomes very important. We are working with a lot of partners. We've got this specifically for SMEs, something we call beyond banking. So we're working with a lot of partners, whether they're accounting, ERP service providers, HR tech companies, or likewise similar platforms, so that they can bring the best of generative AI tools to our clients. For example, if you are an exporter and you want to understand which markets or which customers to focus on, there are service providers today who are processing through generative AI all the big data available and giving that in a readable format. Similarly, there are a lot of platforms which are helping customers to understand various aspects of the business. So that's beyond banking. So I would say within bank, there's a lot of use case, but I think beyond banking, the whole universe sort of opens up, and we can do these partnerships and get our clients the best of generative AI. Yeah.
So that's a very important point. What it's trying to tell, to summarize, is that you know, that the data is there. I can create a data mesh and all, give that create those, you know, bronze data, silver data, gold data. On the gold data, I do a query. Query is to whom? How do I compartmentalize the data and so that it is restricted to a specific group? And data governance models are very important and all. And there are a lot of effort which is going on to create an organizational AI policies and organizational data policies, how it will shape up for your own organization. Every organization will have a different governance architecture. Every industry will have different governance architecture and all. You know, while you are trying to democratize, how do I create a boundary around the owners and the, you know, the people who has got the right to access what kind of data. Those boundaries has to be defined before you democratize at a data level. One is a democratization as an infrastructure level, as an application level, and second phase is that I democratize with a control. It's like car with a brake. If I have a brake in my car and all good brake, then I'll be able to drive at 200 km/h speed, knowing that if I press the brake, I'll be able to control. That's what is the, you know, that's what is the analogy which I would like to go ahead with it. With this, I think we are ending up. There is no more time left. 3:30. It's 4:30. Even if I wish to continue, that I'll not be able to continue. I don't want to bore also the audience beyond a point. And is there any question for this panel? Please go ahead and ask. Yeah. And you can tell that whom you are asking this question. Please share the mic. Yeah.
Hello.
My name is Bibhas Kundu. My question is to the Oracle panelist, that when Oracle is coming out with so many generative AI features with every quarterly release, there may be a concern among the customers that if I am on this Oracle platform, my confidential data may be used by Oracle to train the LLM models. So how do you mitigate this concern of the customer?
Very good question, sir. Thank you. So from a security standpoint, it is very important to understand that as a SaaS ERP provider, if I am talking about SaaS applications from your perspective or cloud applications, number one, before generative AI, before AI ML getting embedded also, we are there into the business of ERP applications on cloud. There also, because it is public cloud, and also you can have private cloud and dedicated and sovereign cloud also. But let me answer that if it's a public cloud, you always have that question in mind, what about my data? Oracle as an OEM has nothing to do with your data. We are just the provider of the application to you, and we hold that application on our infrastructure, which is a cloud infrastructure. You and your audit team are also welcome to come and audit the data centers, the applications itself. We do not touch, we cannot see your applications also. We cannot see your data also, any data you put in. That is how all public clouds work, with that security layer absolutely within, that is the provider has a security layer, and also between the companies who are hosted in the public cloud. So there's no question of that we taking in or seeing your data. Anyway, that is ruled out, number one. Number two, in case of generative AI also, for example, we partner with Cohere for large language model processing in applications, right? So we cannot send any data to the large language models for their, whatever they do, the partnership, they keep on creating data because that is their core competence. That is only used for a recommendatory purpose, for you to have a recommendation on any particular embedded Gen AI in your applications, whether supply chain, human capital management, finance, etc. And the same with the GPU providers, that is, we partnered with NVIDIA, is the same. There's no question of data going from Oracle for training or for inferencing. It is ruled out. So your data is only yours. OEM has nothing to do with it. Thank you.
But if, Vivash, I will share that what Rahul has shared. Along with that, I want to share a fact is that we should not send the data to a open public GPT to do and take an output. It has to be your landing zone or your database which is residing with Oracle or with hyperscaler like Amazon, Azure or Google and all. You have got your landing zone. If you keep your data, if you want to use their model and all over there, you have to tick the data out is not allowed and data in is allowed. Data in, whatever is allowed is that where you will be able to consume the outside and in data from the public ecosystem for you to take a decision. That you can do it, but inside out you don't allow. That's what is your, once you don't allow that, then you are actually deciding. That's what we have learned, that the technology is changing. What is happening at the back end we don't know. What we have been coached and trained by these hyperscalers and all in that, that's what we believe. We have to believe like a bank is keeping our money in the vault and they are keeping our data safe, with the hyperscalers are keeping our data safe. That's all we know. And we were there, and there is second question. This is the last question. I've seen Angona roaming around here. That means that she wants to end this session.
Hello, sir. One question. Sir.
Okay, I have one more question that is also directed to the Oracle panelists. That is, if we are talking about the security aspect, then how can we deal with the problem of hallucinations in large language models? Like, that is also a huge problem in today's date. So how do you think we are going to tackle that challenge?
Actually, that's a great question. I mean, it is still being on the research stage. As you know, generative AI also is growing, but as you rightly said, there's hallucination. And one of the ways how Oracle is partnering along with Cohere and NVIDIA is trying to reduce the hallucination. I won't say the hallucination goes away. Reduce the hallucination is by prompt engineering. So the prompt assembly which we are creating day by day by our quarterly updates and enhancements, etc., they are the question to the LLMs or the specific are getting more specific, more clear, and more into the context. But yes, as you rightly said, it happened with machine learning also. Machine learning, as it learned more and more through the libraries, the reduction happened in, or you can say the accuracy percentage kept on increasing, right? In the same way, the hallucination levels are getting reduced by prompt engineering in a much more specific, clear and contextualized manner, so that, and also as I said in my first session, that there is human in the loop. So with hallucination, finally it's a recommendation, and that recommendation can sometimes, because of the hallucination, be out of context. Okay, the answer may be right, but it may be out of context. There comes the still human in the loop who has to take cognizance of the fact that, okay, fine, I wanted this output, or this was my expected output. I have got 50% or 60%, 40% is hallucination. I need to correct that 40%. Now this will increase over the period of time, and hallucinations will reduce as the prompt engineering technology gets more and more refined. Thank you, sir.
One question, sir. Can I ask, sir? Hello?
With
Can I ask
permission of Angona.
Hello?
Okay, Angona is busy, so please go ahead and ask.
One question, sir. One question.
Yeah, go ahead and ask.
Sir, currently in generative AI, we mostly use LLMs, which uses billions of parameters. And it is very costly for training purpose. So why we are not using other kinds of techniques to create better generative models or non-generative models, AI models also? Or if we are using, what are these techniques?
Please use whatever is the less minimum required for your business. Don't have to use so much of data point, billion data points. You need your own model, train it with your data and create your own model and work on it and repeat on it. You don't need so much of power. You're actually reducing a carbon footprint for your country and all, and that's what is you're giving back to the society, because you have created your own model with your own simple data set. What he said is that you thumbs up, thumbs down, you create and retrain your data. Prompt engineering, thumbs up means good output, train good output, train bad output, don't train, so thumbs up, thumbs down and all, train your data with a very small set and then start working from there and all, that becomes your model, you use it. But it's little difficult and all, people, that people tend to avoid, but there are open models you take and consume. If you've got your large infrastructure in your organization or you are using it from, from the hyperscalers and all, then you use that over that compute, generate a small, create a small model, consume it.
My main question is, other than LLMs models, what are other techniques that we are using?
I've got an alert from her. We'll take it up again. So thank you. I'm so sorry. Thank you, everybody and all. We are all available here anytime, any questions. We are very happy to answer this.
Thank you. Thank you for understanding. We would now request Mr. Partho Sengupta to please present tokens of our appreciation to the panelists on the dais. I'd request my colleagues to please present hand over the mementos to Mr. Partho Sengupta. We should have mentioned it earlier. We're, in the memento, we are gifting honey. This honey is, I think many of you know, it is produced at an AI-enabled bee corridor, which is implemented by one of our startups, who was incubated at Webel BCCNI Tech Incubation Center. And they have got this project from Government of West Bengal at our Eco Park.